Sidlala kancane sisukuvuka kancane. Le gospel. It's getting worse and worse. It's fine. Okay. She's walking on fire. So man, stand up. What? Oh, she's so big. What? The other way. Thank you. Ungzamile. And thank you to my co-speakers there. You know, ungzamile and revived us. Good afternoon, everyone. As Coach has said, my name is Jennifer. I don't like to assume that people know me because I'm not a celebrity. I'm just the girl next door. I'm also not a financial coach, I must say that. I'm not a financial coach. I'm also not a financial advisor. I'm just a financial mentor. I'm that person who's be like, I'm there to water your plant. I'm there to remind you of something, you know, because in many times, the journey of financial growth can be very lonely and sometimes confusing. So I'm just that girl next door who decided to take charge of her finances. And because she decided to do that, she then started sharing on social media. That's the only difference, is that I share on social media, you know. And I'm a mother. I'm a public servant. I work in the public sector, and I am a businesswoman. I've grown out of a hustle, or what is it? Side hustles. I no longer have a side hustle. I have a business. I don't want to say it's a side thing. It's a business. Yes, it's a business. So my business is largely on content creation. So I work a lot with brands, and then I also have my own brand where I sell my things. Last year I published a journal. It was my first ever journal. This year we're going to be publishing the next one. It's a financial journal. Your companion. Let me just show you what it looks like because I don't have any in stock. I don't have any in stock because they sold out in March. So now we're going to design for 2025. But this is the journal. Inside, you are able to plan, budget, and set goals, track your progress, and review how the month went. Ne? Even though this talk is really not about my business, it's about you. And I want us to look at money holistically. I grew up in poverty. Well, we started off rich, I would say. We were rich. There was a point whereby life was going good, and then my father passed on. Then it was years and years of poverty, like extreme poverty. And there were a lot of mistakes that were made, and then there were also a lot of mistakes that I made because of lack of financial education. And because I then became intentional in learning and bettering my finances, I've learned so much. And now I finally can say that I understand money holistically. And that is what I want us to do today. I want us to look at money holistically. And my role today is to ignite something in you that when you get home, that you are able to start thinking about money differently. That even when you are about to do something with, hey, Jen, hey, that girl, Gombe, what, you know? So, I'm going to be speaking on 3 things, and we're going to start first with just understanding what money is. I'm not going to ask you individually what you understand about money or what money means to you, because it's going to take a long time since it's maningi. But I normally say, think about money and think about your life and ask yourself, what does money mean to you in one word? what does money mean to you in one word? We don't have to, normally I would say each person must let us know so that we just get a view of where everyone is. But because of how many we are, we can't do that. And I've only got 30 minutes. Yes. So I want you to just take time to think about what does money mean to you. I'll give an example with me. I still believe this, even now I work with this. For me, money means freedom. So I want you to think for you, what does money mean? Okay? Because once you understand what money means to you, then you start approaching money holistically. So I normally say, there's a video that's going to come out tomorrow, and it's so funny that my talk today is largely on that video. And I say, when it comes to money, the more money you spend, the more time you will spend trying to make that money back. Let me repeat that. The more money you spend, the more time you will spend trying to make that money back. Yeah? And what does this mean? It'll come to my first pillar that I'm going to be speaking about today when it comes to just understanding money. Firstly, money is time. Not to be confused with time is money, but rather money is time. Because when we say money, time is money, it means I have to work so hard. I need to make sure that I utilize all my hours in my day so that I can make money. So meaning that if I don't put in the work, then there's no money. But here we're looking at, you've put in the work, you've gotten paid. What do you do with it? Yeah? So when you spend more, it means that you need to wake up every day and go back and make that money, so that you can be able to finance those needs that you have. So what you want to get to, you want to get to a point whereby you spend less so that you have to spend less time doing the things that you do not want to do. Because the fact is, many of us here, we're at the jobs that we don't like. We are in careers that we do not like. We dread waking up in the morning. Whenever we have to wake up in the morning, we're like, why? You know, we have sometimes, some of us, we have to convince ourselves why we need to wake up, you know. And for many of us, we wake up because we have kids, we have family, we have responsibilities. And so the more money you spend, the more you take the time away from yourself in doing the things that you actually truly want to do. So you want to decrease your spending. And it obviously doesn't happen overnight, but you want to slowly decrease your spending so that you can have more time doing the things that fulfill you, doing the things that align with you, doing the things that working in your purpose, basically. Having more time to spend with your family, having more time to spend with your loved ones, having time to travel the world. But you won't get there so long as you spend everything that comes in. So long as you think that money is to be spent, because that's also a notion that what comes in must go. You will constantly have to work for money. And you will never feel like you have worked enough. You will work yourself to the ground because you will always never have enough. You will get paid a lot, but you still feel like you will still be broke. You get paid 50,000 per month, but after 2 weeks, you are broke. That's not a life. That's not a life. So for me, I had to understand what money is. For me, I look at money as just a tool. Money is a tool. It's a tool for me to be able to do the things that I want. It's a tool of trade. Back then, there was a barter system before there was money there, to say, I have apples, I want bananas. So I'll give you my apples, you give me your banana. That's how we went about it last time. Yeah? And then now, there's money. So I have to give money to get what I want. But first, I must go work for money. I must go earn money so that I can come back and now start accessing the things that I want in my life. So it's very important to understand that money is time, so that you can get to a point whereby you work less and then your money works for you. And not in this cliche way where say, my money works for me in my sleep. It doesn't just happen. It just doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of making wise decisions about money for your money to eventually work for you in your sleep, So that's the first thing I want us to understand, that money is time. And the reason why I'm so firm and I'm so committed when it comes to this is because, guys, we are not getting any younger. You know, we are not getting any younger. We are getting older, and the more we are getting older, our time in this earth is becoming more and more limited. And so on your deathbed, what do you want to be thinking about? When you look back in your life, what do you want to say? How did you spend your days? How did you spend your days? You spend your days where you hated it. That's how you spend your days. You know, once you start looking at life like that and then looking at what you're doing with your money, then you realize, man, there should be something more that I should be doing so that one day I can look back and say, you know what, you lived. You lived, you did something. You did something because money is what? Is a tool. So ask yourself, what does money mean to you, and what do you want the money to do in your life? So that we're not, because this thing of, we're not going to be worshiping money, we're not going to be praising money, we're not going to be glorifying money, but we have to put money to work. Our money must work for us. And it starts with you telling your money what it must do. So that's the first thing. The second thing is money is choice. And what do I mean by money is choice? The more money you spend, the less choices you are taking away from yourself. And you can look at it also to say, but if I earn more money, I can walk in any car garage and buy whatever car that I want. I can buy any house that I want. I can buy anything that I want. But what are the repercussions of that? Because now if you go, you get paid money, and then you accumulated all of these material things, the cars, the house, everything. According to the world, you are rich. Yes, you are very much rich, but you are not wealthy. I like what this guy that wrote the book, The Psychology of Money, always says it. He always says, wealth is the money not spent, and rich is the money that was spent. How you see that a person is rich? Through their cars, their house, everything that they have, everything that they possess, we can say that person is rich. But they are not wealthy. Because if they were to lose that job tomorrow, what will happen? What will happen? So I started saying, when I was younger, we were rich. We had the money. We lived the lifestyle. You know, we lived the lifestyle of looking rich, but we're not wealthy, because the moment the breadwinner was no longer there, what happened? We went into extreme poverty. So the more money you spend, the more choices you are taking away from yourself. The choice to decide what you want to do with your life. The choice to decide what you want to do in your day. There's this exercise that I did last month, and it was from some of the YouTube videos that I had watched, and it inspired me to look at my life holistically. And it says, if money were no factor in your life, how would you spend your days? Once you start asking yourself those questions, that's where you start becoming real with yourself, to say, the way that I'm living my life right now, no, it doesn't align. This is not how I want to spend the rest of my days. This is not how I want to look back and say, oh, that's how I lived my life. If you're a person that enjoys traveling, and you can't do that because you don't have the resources, but you're stuck in this house, this expensive house, and this car, what would be more fulfilling to you? Traveling would be more fulfilling. So how do you then get to a point whereby money is not a factor in your life? And then you start walking in your purpose. You start doing things that bring you joy. You start living. For me, I'm 30-something, and I feel like I haven't lived. I haven't lived. Yes, I have done everything that I had to do. I've checked all the boxes that I needed to check. You know, go to school, graduate, go work, climb the corporate ladder quickly. You know, and I'm just there, and I'm looking at people above me. I'm like, I don't want your lives. I don't aspire to be you. I don't want it. The life of imbalance, a life of having to work every day and every night, the life of not having your own time and family time. You are constantly called, you are constantly having responsibilities of work. When are you ever having time for yourself and the kids and your husband and your wife? When are you ever going to have time for the things that mean the most to you? You can't have that. You can't. So for me, that is why I say looking at money holistically is very important. Asking the important questions is very important. It'll get you to that uncomfortable stage where you have to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, I need to make changes. Now that we understand that, how do we start making changes? Ne? Now, there's this thing that I created. It's called a money ladder. Ne? It's basically step easy, and it has 4 steps. The first step is financial insecurity, financial anxiety. That's where many people start at. And how do you know that you have financial instability, financial anxiety? When you get paid, how do you feel? Yes. If every time you get paid, you can feel. Every time you get paid and you see stop orders going out, you feel like screaming and pulling out your hair. You know, my mother used to do this thing. Whenever it was payday, we would feel it. Everyone in the house would feel it. You know, she would be shouting, "Hey, you are sleeping. Go withdraw my money. They are taking it. It's finishing." And by the time you get to the ATM, you withdraw, and the money is small. She will be angry the whole day, and she will be blaming you for taking too long to get ready to go to the ATM and withdraw the money. That is financial anxiety. That is financial instability. That is a sign that you do not have your finances in control. Now, how do you start having control over your finances? It starts with what you do before you get paid, what you do when you get paid, what you do post to getting paid. What you do before you get paid is you sit down and you do a budget. Simple, ne? Very simple. But why is it that many people don't do it? It's boring. It is very boring to do a budget. I like doing a budget. I like being in control. So it's very nice for me to sit down and say, Wena, I want you to go here. I want you to go here. For me, it is very, very nice. You know, as a person who grew up in poverty and having to survive on scraps, finally having control to say, oh, when I get paid, now I can make sure. For me, that's very nice. Yes. But then there are people who honestly find budgeting to be boring, daunting, you know, and they think it's constraining. It's because of how you approach it. How I always say it is, a budget is a tool for you to tell where your money must go. That is all a budget is. This is where I want you to go. Now I always say, you are naming your money. Utitabo, hamba, uyonkokhela indlu yami. Bang mang, go do this. Mang mang, to make it exciting, if you really find it boring, give it names. Give it names and say, Wena, I want you to go take my car. Hamba, go pay for my car. Wena, go do this. And once you start giving your money a name, what it does is it helps you when you get paid. You then have a thing called a payday routine where you sit down and you say, Thabo, I said, did you go and pay for my car? And there you are looking now at your debit orders to say, okay, did it go out? Okay, this one went, and then you are noting down, okay, this is how much went out to pay for this. This is how much went out to pay for this. Okay, what's the deviation? Was it more or was it less? If it's the same, good. If it was more, by how much? If it was less, by how much? Next month when you budget, you say, okay, if it was more, now when I budget, how much must it be? That's a payday routine. Now, on top of that, what I have done is to then have a thing called weekly allowances. Now, the problem with many people, and the reason why people struggle with money and always constantly broke, literally crawling to the end of the month, is because people budget for only payday. And ever since I learned this, and I don't like stealing people's ideas because that's just not good. I learned this from Nicolette Mashile. If you don't watch her, please watch her. You will learn so much. I came across Nicolette Mashile, I think 2008. 2008? 2018. No, 2008. And I can't remember, guys. It's been a while. But back then, she was still on Facebook, like a lot on Facebook. And she spoke about how she was able to save $1 million. Like, she's a millionaire. I'm like, look at this girl. How is she $1 million? And that inspired me, and it woke me up. You know, and so she spoke about this thing that the problem with many of us, we only budget for payday, we don't budget for the whole month. And then 2 weeks in the month, we're broke. And then now we are crawling to the payday. Now we're tapping into our credit card, we are borrowing from Mashonisa, borrowing from people just to make it to payday. And that's not a life. that's where you still at financial anxiety. So you want to move out of there. How do you move out of there? First, we started with a budget. Now we looked at the payday routine. Now we're looking at having a thing called weekly allowances. Look at your budget, ask yourself, what are things that I spend on after a week of me getting paid? There are things that just you find yourself having to spend on in the month. And these things are always there. It's just that many of us, we just pretend to be blind on it. What are those things that you spend on during the month leading up to payday? Now, in your budget, break it down per week. So what I do is, for me, my problematic area is groceries. As much as I may do my groceries when I get paid, I will still find myself having to buy certain things during the month because I've got a child that goes to school. So the things for lunchbox, obviously they do finish. Veggies, they don't last that long. Fruits, they don't last that long. So how do you then make a plan for those things in your budgeting? What I'll do is I'll say, okay, a total of this is my groceries. So I'll say 5,000. I'll say that would be my groceries for the whole month. Now, instead of going and buying groceries bulk, I don't do that, because I've realized it doesn't work for me. So what I'll do is I'll say, in each week, what are the things that we need? In each week, what are the things that we need? Because this thing of looking at the whole month, it can be very overwhelming. And you go there, at macro, you'll be full with the trolley. 3 weeks in, the things are finished in the fridge. And you're like, but my fridge was full, and then the next thing you are shouting at the kids, why in Puzi Coke yonke? Was it supposed to last for the whole year? No, there's no food that lasts forever. So this thing of wanting to go and buy the whole shop just because you're saying you are saving through bulk, sometimes it's not working for you. So if you're a person that buys in bulk and then you find 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, the food is finished, try weekly buying. What I do is I'll say on week 1, I'm going to buy the bigger things, like the rice, the maize meal, and all those big things. Ne? And the fruits, obviously, and other things. But I'm also not buying for the whole month when it comes to fruits. For rice and what, I want it to last the whole month, obviously, or even more than that. But for fruits, everything else, no. Why must it last the whole month? It's impossible. So I only buy for the week. How much do I need when it comes to fruits? So I'll just buy myself banana, oranges, and what. You know, things that I know will last me for the whole week. If they last more than that, kudos. But the goal is 1 week. So I'll say 1,500 is for 1 week. Go buy my groceries. Another week starts, I have now what? 1,000 for that week. I go to the shops, I buy whatever that is finished in the house, and I might find that I'm still left with 200 rands. I start the 3rd week. I have 1,300 that is allocated to that week. What are the things that I finished in the house? I buy those things. I might find that I have 100 rands left. The 4th week, leading up to payday, I look, what are the things that I finish? I go buy those things. What does it do? It helps me that I don't crawl to the end of the month. I'm not desiring, oh my God, I need to get paid. When are we getting paid, guys? The fridge is empty. No. I'm literally walking to the end of the month. Confidently. Ne? So, that's where you want to get to. You want to get to a point whereby you are confidently walking to the end of the month. Try this. Try this. And obviously, you must modify things based on your lifestyle, your family size, your responsibilities. You modify it to that. I always say to people, if you can't do 4 weeks, do bi-weekly. Do 2 weeks and then do 2 weeks. See how it goes. You refine. Okay, it doesn't work this one. Let me try it this way. Ne? And then another one that I do, which is very controversial on TikTok and Instagram, bang tuga. Every time they're like, you are so backward thinking, like, how are you still using cash? I use cash, confidently so, but not on everything, because obviously we have to move with the times. There are things that are taken through debit orders, so I allow those things to be taken. They can go, that's not my money, go. And then for things like this one, the groceries, that's where I use cash. And here's why I use cash. I realize, it's very important, guys, to understand your spending habits and your personality. I realize that every time I go to the shops and I have a budget of 1,500, I come back having spent 2,000. And I was like, why? No, it's because of the convenience. The reason why there's online banking and all these things, online shopping, it's because of convenience. And I realized that the more convenience I have in my life, the more problems I have. So let's take away the convenience and let's introduce problems. You know, give yourself problems, make it hard for you to spend. So what I do now is I'll say, okay, if my budget for the whole month for groceries is 5,000, I will go confidently so to the ATM and withdraw that 5,000 and they will charge me. And the question that I always get on TikTok is, but what about the charges? And then I always say, the cost. What costs me more or what keeps me up at night more? The spending more and not understanding why I'm spending all of that, or being charged 50 rands for withdrawing 5,000. For me, the cost of being charged 50 rands on 5,000 is less than me overspending on things that I don't need. So what I'll do is I'll say, that 5,000, go withdraw it, come back. I have my envelopes there. When I say my business, I have a binder with envelopes. You know, I'll sit down and say, week 1, 1,500. Week 2, you know, and then I will keep that money in a safe place in my house. I don't go around with cash. Because what did we say? I'm introducing problems. I'm making it hard for me to spend. So now I'll be at work and then I'll be thinking, you know, I would like to buy this. I want to buy this. And then I realize when I look in my purse, you don't have the money. You don't have the card. What do? You go straight home. And then you think thoroughly about that spending. But if I had the card, what was I going to do? Definitely going to pass by the shops. Definitely. And then I was going to spend more than what I had budgeted, you know, because I'm not being mindful. So now using cash forces me to say, go home, think, sit down, make a list, go to the shops. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the shops with just that envelope that I need for that groceries. So if it's 1,500, it will be 1,500. And as I'm walking to the shops, it's painful, it's not nice, but it works. I'll be counting as I'm putting the things in the trolley. Oh, onions, 35 rands. Mang. I'm adding because what I want to do, I don't want to get to the till and find that it's more than 1,500 that I have. I want to get to the till and know that it's only 1,500 that I'm going to spend there. Ne? And then I get to the till, I spend what? 1,500. What do I do after that? I walk home. I haven't spent more than what I budgeted. Why? I took out the convenience of being able to move money from one account to another account just because I see something that I had no plans on buying. Take out the convenience. So for you as well, ask yourself, what are the things that are making it easy for you to overspend? What are you overspending on? And what are those things? And also, many of us here, we are women. We've got our things that we do, hair, manala, you know, pampering ourselves. Give yourself a budget allocation for yourself. I have a long-standing budget category called me in my budget. Because we are mothers, you have to take care of kids and what about you? So what I'll do is I'll give myself an allocation of, I'm a very affordable, low maintenance girl, as you can see. So I'll give myself 500 rands. That 500 rands is for me to spend willy-nilly on whatever I want. If I want to buy myself chocolates, I'll buy myself chocolates. If I want to I will do anything with that without feeling guilt. Oh my God, why am I? No, it's my money. It's in my budget allocation. So they're doing those small things. You see the things we speak about, practical things. Doing those small things will allow you to move away from financial anxiety, guys. The dreading of payday. And then you can start moving towards financial peace. But also I know, let's not ignore the part that many of us were drowning in debt. So long as you have a lot of debt, it will become hard for you to move to financial peace. And financial peace, guys, looks like this. When you get paid, you don't feel like running to the ATM to withdraw your money. When you get paid, your day is not messed. When you get paid, you can sleep freely. When you get paid, you don't have a problem with debit orders going out of your account. Because why? You know you committed to those things. That's financial peace. Ne? When you get, also financial peace looks like knowing that every week of the month you are good, you are not going to be crawling to the end of the month. Ne? So we need to deal with those debts. deal with those debts. What I did, because there was a point whereby I was drowning in a lot of debts and I was finding it hard for me to save and invest, and it was really annoying. And when I saw Nicolette, that she was a millionaire, like, this girl is young, look at me, here, drowning in debt, what can I do? I sat down and I looked at all my debts. I listed all of them down. The personal loan, credit cards, I had 2 credit cards, I had store accounts. I listed all of them. How much was I paying for each? How much was I owing? And what is the interest of each? And then I said, which debt do I need to pay here that will make me feel good? You need to start tackling those debts one by one. Then I paid off my store account, paid them off, and then I jumped the credit card, and then I went into a personal loan, and it was a close to 100K personal loan. Paid that thing off in a few years. Obviously, it wasn't overnight, but I eventually paid it off. So after that, but the trick here when it comes to paying off debt is that once you've listed all your debts and you say, this is what, for, you then say, this is the one I'm going to start attacking. I want you to come look at your budget and say, what are my essentials? You list all of your essentials. You list all of those are your needs. Entertainment is not a need. Going out is not a need. Manala, Moriri, it's not a need. DSTV is not a need. All of those things are not a need. I want you to list only the needs. Ne? And then from there, you then list your things that are not your needs. And then we start asking yourself, what can I cut here to make money that will help me to pay off this one debt quickly? You cut those things. If you have DSTV, Netflix, and what, go find your friend that has DSTV. Go find your friend that has Netflix. You only have one Showmax. You share the thingy. You share the subscription. You don't have to be paying for all those things all at once. You don't. Okay? And then once you have cut money, let's say maybe you were able to get 300 rands from that, and you've got a store account. And in that store account, you're paying 500 rands per month. Now you're going to take the 300, you're going to add it here to this 500, which increases the money now you are going to be paying per month, which helps you to pay off a debt quickly. You do that until you pay off that debt. Ne? When you pay off that debt, you take that, 700, 6, 7, 8. You take that 800, you now take it to the next debt. What is the next debt that you need to attack? Take that 800, you add it to the minimum repayment, you pay that off until you are finished. Once you are done with that debt, you take all of that money, whatever that, let's say maybe it's 2,000. You take all of that, you haul it to the next debt. What is the next debt that I need to attack? You pay it, or you pay it. When you finish it, let's say it's 3,000 now, that is free. You take that 3,000 to the next debt. That's how you pay off debt. You just keep moving like this. You don't try to pay all of them at once. No, you are paying the minimum on all of them, but then there's one that you are paying additional. As soon as you are done with that one, you take that money, you go to the next one. You take that money, you go to the next one. I had one client that I was mentoring for 3 months. When we sat down and we made the plan, we realized that when she's done, which is going to be this year, when she's done with all of her debt, she's going to have 11,000 free coming back to her. From just sitting down and creating a plan.